excited are you?
Yeah, I mean, excited that we punched our ticket to the next round, and now we get to play against a good opponent in a place where they're obviously good. They're a good side. So, but if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So, at some point, you have to go through those. So, I feel like we're focused fully on ourselves. And I think if you play to the best of our abilities, then it's going to be a really good game. So, we've had a good spell, I think, since our last meeting with them. And I think we've learned a few things here and there, so hopefully we can utilize that knowledge and get a W.
Does Atlanta's upset of Miami give you any kind of, perk or bounce or anything like that, as far as anything is possible type of situation with tournaments?
I mean, knew that already. Does it give me more confidence with us? Like, no, it's a completely different game. But what it does is gives you more motivation. If we go all the way through, we're looking at a potential home game, right? So that's what you got to look at. This is a massive opportunity for, I think, a squad that believes in itself. And again, in the end, you can sit here and say, "Oh, I played 10 years and I got close 10 times." It's not going to do anything. So I think we sense that we have an opportunity with a squad that we think is good. And now it's time to try to go after that with everything we've got. Like I said, they're a good side. They're going to be doing the exact same thing, and so it should be a good battle.
Steph, wondering how much of the series LAFC Vancouver you got to watch, and just your impressions of watching LAFC in that series.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good side. I've seen parts live, and then obviously highlights of everything. So I think they're just lethal. They're ruthless. They have a lot of offensive power, and if you try to shut one down that seems to be clicking, then there's another one that can step up. So it's difficult to keep tabs on all the weapons and keep everything covered. But having said that, I think Vancouver did some good things against them too, that I think need to see if we can maybe emulate that, put them under pressure at times. And in the end, it's our sport sometimes gets criticized for not having too many goals, but it just shows you the value of goals. If Vancouver finds one with all that pressure that they're able to mount, it's a completely different game. And so, goals change games. And, hopefully we can mount some pressure, and then when we do have our opportunity to be ruthless and find a goal.
In preparation for them, how much do you lean on and look back to the other games this year, the many games you've had them against them this year?
You look at some things in terms of, I think, how they view us, maybe, and how they approach games against us. But I think it's more prudent to look at what they're doing right now and what's working for them right now. And then again, I think at some point then you need to take your foot off that pedal and fully focus on your own squad and worry about what works for you. What do we need to do to be successful? So it's going to be a mixture of both.
What's the balance of, when you lose to a team 4 years in 1 year, what's the balance of changing, shifting, doing something completely different, or staying true to what you've been doing and just doing it better, I guess?
I don't know. That's probably a question for the gaffer. We're going to try to follow the instructions and stay together as a team. And I think one of the things is, regardless of tactically maybe how we approach the game, we always work hard to the very end, and so expect nothing less. I mean, we're going to look at, I think, some things maybe that they were able to do well repeatedly against us, and maybe there's some things that we can avoid.
When you're thinking about yourself and what you can do better, what do you think you have learned from the previous meetings with LA that you can sort of internalize and say, look, this is where we didn't come through, and this is where we need to be better?
Well, I think for one, it's our resting defense. I mean, if you go as far back as the last playoffs, it's almost an innocent play pretty far away. I think Bouanga picks up the ball pretty much halfway here on the left side, and then smells blood and goes for it. And so it's a matter of, I think, instilling that awareness right now out here while everybody can hear me, because on the weekend, whether home or away in LA, it's going to be expecting a big crowd. I don't think I'm going to be heard that well. So can we make sure that when we do find spells of possession, or we're maybe pushing a little bit, that we're also accounting for some of those weapons that they have, because at times maybe they like to cheat. up top, and they've shown that when they do that and they take that risk, they're quite ruthless in taking advantage of if anything pops out. So we have to be very aware of that. So yeah, I think for me it's mainly instilling a sense of how is our resting defense on our offense, and can we react. I think part of the session today was actually about that too, right? It's recovering and delaying, and allowing us to get back into good shape, clogging up lanes, and then making them have to really find something rather than the path is clear and they just go for it, right? So.
Is it too naive to say that maybe playing away from home, after you guys, the last 3 times you guys have played them here, that maybe playing away from home is a good change of the rhythm of sort of, it changes one variable in this equation?
I still think home field is an advantage, right? So I'd rather play at home in front of our fans. It's not just. I think that's the last thing I think about is how have we done at home against this team before, and does that now change how I'd rather go on the road? No, I think there's so many variables for a home game advantage that is not even the game itself. It's all the prep, right? It's you get to sleep in your own bed, you get to be with your family, everything is taken care of, you're at ease, you know everything's fine. Even if you just go on the road for one day, those are things you have to kind of think about, right? But yeah, if a little change of scenery ends up working out for us, then maybe we'll have to see why that's the case and start playing down in LA.
So, Steph,
Was there
just in terms of awareness, some teams have tried a little bit. I know Houston tried to do that. Try to plug in the middle, and they try to get somebody in between you two midfielders. Freddie was talking about this. How important is spacing in the midfield going to be important for you in this game?
I actually think that's been a topic for a whole year, and one that we've gotten better a lot. It's spacing, but I would argue it's not just spacing in the middle; it's spacing everywhere. Spacing and timing. I think those are 2 things that we've gotten exceptionally better at. And there are things that I think a lot of people don't even pay attention to, but it makes a big difference, right? You can have an eager player that spacing is good, but the patience is not there, the timing is not there, and our triangles to get out of a sticky situation is just too tight. So those things, it definitely helps when those things are a little bit sharper, and I think we've improved in that. So yes, Freddie's absolutely right. I think we know that our spacing and our timing is one of the key factors of I think why we've been successful in the last few months.
And is it also adding awareness, like when to when you have the ball, when to hold on until other players can come in to attack? It seems like that's been an improvement.
Yeah, I think that's kind of part of that timing thing, right? Like, you know, if I play it out to Jamar and he plays it back to me and his guy flows on to me, essentially it means that Jamar now is the open man. How can we get it to Jamar? But if I play that ball too quickly into my 6, the guy who was flowing on to me is still on Jamar, right? So maybe I have to be more patient. And then, again, the timing aspect of things is now Christian needs to be patient because I'm being patient. He can't just run himself out of that 6, out of that pocket and into our back line. So those are the kind of all the nuanced little things that I think most people are not paying attention to, but I think they make a big difference, right? You can form that triangle there. I get it back, I get it Christian. We find our right center back who's now wide open, and we can play out. But if that timing and that patience is not there, then that makes it possibly a risky play against, especially a team that presses hard and relies on, I think, causing turnovers and getting dangerous situations that way. So we'll have to be careful.
I mean, when it's LAFC and you're the captain of this team, are you, not that there's a need for it, but are you thinking of pep talk for the group, for the team before that game this week? Is there anything you're doing particularly different as the captain of this team?
No, I think it do a disservice to the squad. I think we view it every game as the game, and you approach every game with the same utmost respect. And I don't like it when people try to change things, because all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is a big game. Why haven't we done this before? You know, I think you have to view every game the same way, and so they're probably sick and tired of me talking at this point anyway. So make it short and sharp, but not much needs to be said. Like I said, I think the squad senses an opportunity, is hungry, and we just got to go out there and deliver.
And kind of building on that, I know know it's conference tournament, so you're going to play somebody again. But was there any want to play LAFC, especially after the U.S. Open Cup when you kind of were closer than any of the other ones as far as the possibility of ending that streak against them? So was there a want to maybe play?
I mean, we were watching the Miami game, and I think Paul Rothbard was sitting next to me, and Miami looked like they were losing, and in his inexperience, he's like, "Oh, I wish Miami was still in because you could go to the final and you could win against Miami." And I was like, "Man, dude, nobody's gonna ask how you won your championships. You call it the easiest path. You still have to earn it. I won a championship. I don't care if it gets handed to me, honestly. So if you have to go through the best teams, which at some point you probably will have to, it doesn't matter when it happens. If you want to win, you probably have to win against some good teams. Who that is and when that is, I don't really care. But like I said, there's an opportunity, and I think it would obviously give us some momentum too if you were able to find a result and against a good squad that has had our number for a while and moving on."